Alright, Lanta, so in less than 12 hours time, we are going to be getting a new Burn the Witch banner with a Halloween version of both Ninny and also Noel. Really cool designs, really good characters, but we're here to ask the question, is the banner worth summoning on? And the question without doubt is easily a yes. It's a good banner, it's worth summoning on, but for the first time ever, I don't think a Burn the Witch banner is a must summon. I do believe most people watching this video can afford to skip the banner, and it mainly comes down to the fact that both Noel and Ninny, while good characters, aren't as broken as we usually expect with a Burn the Witch character. And you're going to see that when we break down the characters too. We are going to be nitpicking, because usually characters like this are without a doubt some of the best characters in the entire game. These ones in particular, while I think the characters are good, I feel like they're missing a few things. And as a whole, you can kind of go without these characters. Just to give a quick example, I make sure to try and max transcend every Burn the Witch character, and I've done that every time a Burn the Witch banner comes out. This time around, I'm just going to try and go for one copy of each. That's the collector in me. I like playing with these characters. I'm going to have a fun time playing with them. I want them, but because they're not super omega broken OP, I'm not going to go for dupes. But with that said, let's have a look at the actual banner. So for starters, remember this is a Burn the Witch banner. These characters are more rare than the usual character. Using the Parasol Burn the Witch banner that came out in April, for example, that hasn't returned yet. So we have no idea when these characters are going to next return. That alone might give you a reason to summon this banner, considering their rarity. The banner itself is of course available for the next 2 weeks, up to the 16th of October, and Burn the Witch banners as a whole don't get any individuals. So if you want both Ninny or Noel, you're gonna have to summon on the main banner. With that said though, now let's talk about the characters. First up, we have Ninny, a Mind Hollow Killer, which I think is really good for the character itself and the attribute. As of right now, we really don't have that many good Mind Hollow Killers, so she does fulfill a niche, and she's able to stand out on her own, even in an attribute with someone like 7th Anniversary Ichigo, and of course also 8th Anniversary White. She doesn't collide with them, considering that none of them have Hollow Killer, and that's what makes me personally want to get this character more. Because if I want to use a Mind Hollow Killer, I don't really have any options. With that said though, Ninny is all based around having the gauge active. She is a different type of gauge character, and by that, usually a gauge is filled by using strong attacks. In her case, because she has Gauge Rampage, she's going to be filling up the gauge by getting kills. So that means, as of right now, we have no idea how fast she is going to fill up that gauge. Whenever we're talking about a gauge character, we can always use other characters as an example. In her case though, she's the first of its kind, so we have no idea how good or bad this particular gauge will actually be. What we can say though, is when the gauge is active, she is going to be hitting really, really hard, because the gauge effects that she does get is really insane. For starters, she starts the quest with 70% of the gauge at full completion, so she's ensuring right from the get-go she's going to get the gauge off. It heals her by 30%, so she has that extra built-in healing. She's also going to get a 50% SP boost, and also, for the first time ever, an additional Frenzy, with, of course, the also standard 100% Berserker. So when that gauge is full and it's active, she is hitting ridiculously hard. Her base damage output is Frenzy +1 with a 40% Berserker and also 20% more damage at full stamina. And that's essentially the problem that I have with this character right now, is that when the gauge isn't active, the damage output for an end of month character, especially a Burn the Witch character, is on the low side. Frenzy +1, 40% Berserker, that's mid-month standards. And that's essentially the problem I have with this character. Sure, when the gauge is active, she is going to be hitting ridiculously hard. Maybe one of the hardest hitting strong attacks in the entire game. But when it's not active, the damage output is on the lower side, I will say. To be fair though, it's not that big of a deal, but it is something to keep in mind. Alongside that though, she has a good set of strong attacks. She has Sharpshooter. With Long Stride, she gets better in Arena 2. Overall, I do think Ninny is one of the better man characters in the entire game. Is she the best man character in the game? No. In terms of gameplay, I would say she's second. But as overall utility, usability, I would say maybe third. Best man character in the game, maybe fourth. And honestly, that's perfectly fine. So yeah, overall, Ninny's performance in the game is definitely going to be on the higher end. I think she is a great character. It's just very weird that they didn't give her Frenzy +2 base, because her damage output when the gauge is inactive is on the lower end. And as of right now, since she does have the Gauge Rampage skill, we have no idea how commonly is she going to have that gauge full. So keep that in mind. I definitely recommend hopping into the stream when the character does release. We will definitely test her out, because yeah, I'm very curious to see how this character is going to perform, because she is a first of its kind. And then second, we have Noel, a hot, no affiliation character with the sword per kill ability. Now, I think that's a good combination. As of late, we haven't had many good hot sword per killers, so getting a new one I think is a good thing. But at the same time, remember, we already have a really good hot sword per killer, that being 6th Anniversary Aizen. And considering that this character is 2 years old, you would think Noel is the significantly better character, but unfortunately again, they kind of held back with this character. And by that, once more, very similar to Ninny, it's the damage output. She has Frenzy +1, she has a 40% Berserker, she has the SP boost plus 80% skill, which is really good, and at the same time, she can apply both Weakening and also Drain, and she has really good strong attacks outside of the SA1, but when you do inflict a status augment, you then do 80% more damage to those particular status augments. That's good, but at the same time, that's essentially the exact same skills that 1000 Year Blood or Yamamoto got over a year ago. Again, it's good, it's not bad, but we have seen, most recently, last month for example, Kyuke, insane damage output, a more consistent damage output. Noel, if she does inflict the stat summon, only has 40% Berserker. The standard post-anniversary has been Frenzy +2 with the SP boost, so it's very weird to see this character come out with only Frenzy +1. That's once more my biggest problem with this character, is that while she is good right now, how good is she going to age? I don't think she's going to age the best. If she had Frenzy +2, easily one of the best Heart characters in the entire game. And that's saying a lot because Heart is really competitive. But with her current damage output, while it isn't bad, I'm not sure how well it's going to age. She is, though, keep in mind, a nuker. She does come with Bombardment and also Weakened Defense, which, you know, 2 weeks ago would have been really good. But in Guild Quest, Very Hard in particular, they killed Nukin. You can almost guarantee that when she does use her Soul Bomb, though, on any given boss in Very Hard, she's going to do a lot of damage, allow your team to do more damage. So her Soul Bomb damage is definitely not redundant with the Very Hard Guild Quest. She's just not going to be nuking all 5 waves. Potentially 1 wave, which, to be fair, is still good. But in my opinion, they also kind of ruined her a tad bit by giving her follow-up and also Bruiser wasted skills in an SP character like this, so I'm really not sure what Killer were thinking with this character. Again, I don't think she's bad. I think she's definitely great. You know, 1000 Year Blood or Yamamoto, a character very similar to this Noel, is still very good. It's just that for a Burn the Witch banner in particular, you kind of expect more. And once more, very similar to Ninny, for example, I really feel like Noel should have had Frenzy +2 built in base, not Frenzy +1. And since she is a Heart Sword killer, there's more competition. You might have 6th Anniversary Eyes and Max Transcended, and in that case, Noel's not really going to have any impact on your account, besides just wanting to use her and have fun with her, which is perfectly fine. Because again, strong attack-wise, skill-wise, she's good. She is one of the better Heart characters in the game, but not the best, right? Having a look at the actual filler characters in this banner, it's overall a very solid list of characters, in this case going from left to right. Gantibane, bad character, but he is a +5 power links or potion soul trait, a really good soul trait to farm links or potions on any speed character. Shui, for a mid-month standard, is actually quite good. His whole thing as of right now has been boosting mind characters' damage output by 40% to enemies afflicted by a status augment, and that has been good for Guild Quest Nukin, but since they're potentially killing Guild Quest Nukin, I'm not sure if you're really going to get much of a use out of him, but at the very least, his soul trait is quite interesting, being more damage to drained enemies. Tenta is one of the best characters in the entire game. He is worth the hype, he is worth summoning for. It's great to see him as a filler. He's a super Linksoul farmer, a droplet farmer, and also a Linksoul farmer, and one of the best characters in any given inheritance trials. One of the highlights in this entire banner, despite him being a filler and premium. Ishin, one of the best Brave Battle characters in the game, with a high damage output, invincibility, ignore invincibility. If you saw our recent Brave Battle, Tility is one of the best characters in that particular modes. Stark, I'm gonna be honest, is a character you're not really gonna use. For a mid-month, he is pretty decent, because he was given Havoc plus 20%, which I do like. But his main thing is that he is a 30% full stamina damage soul trait. Senfani Ichigo, still one of the better mind characters in the game. Outside of that SA1, he still has some enjoyable gameplay, is really good in Guild Quests, and should still be really good in the Very Hard Guild Quests. Same goes for Aizen. Despite him being 2 years old, he's still an amazing character, a super fun character to play with. Might even get better in this upcoming Very Hard Guild Quest, and still definitely worth summoning for. I mentioned it in my video earlier today, there was some disappointment that the banner doesn't have old Burn the Witch characters or seasonals. Honestly, that's for the best. These fillers are some of the best and most valuable that the premium pool has to offer. While it is true, yeah, they're premium, you can get them from tickets. So what? So what? These are some of the best premium characters in the entire game. To have an opportunity to pull for them while going for Burn the Witch characters, I think is good. I, for example, don't have Tenta Zangetsu, so I will be summoning on the main banner. My goal right now is to summon it until I get both Ninny and also Noel at least once. If I was going to get dupes of a character, preferably I want to get dupes of Ninny. My auto count though is actually skipping out on this banner. I don't need Ninny, I don't need Noel, and I have majority of these characters in the filler pool max transcended, or 5-5 at the very least. Having a look at the actual step up format, it is the usual format, not as good as the mid-month format that we recently got 2 weeks ago. Step 1, 6, 11, 16, 21 are discounted at 150 orbs. Step 2, 7, 12, 17, and 22 are discounted at 200 orbs. Every 5th step guarantees you a featured character, which of course includes one of these characters here. And then on step 25, the pity system, you are guaranteed a Burn the Witch character of your choice. One of these 2 in particular. So yeah, overall, it's definitely worth summoning on. I know it seems like I'm a bit negative in this video because I'm nitpicking. Keep that in mind. I understand that. But again, Burn the Witch characters come at a higher standard. These characters don't meet that Burn the Witch standard that, you know, Parasol set, for example. But don't get that twisted. These are still great characters. Still worth summoning on, especially with that filler pool. But there are a few things to keep in mind. Maybe they're not going to age the best. I can definitely say that about Noel. With Ninny, we have to see how the Rampage gauge effect works. Is it good or is it bad? We don't know until we try it out. It is a 2-character banner. Keep that in mind. Next month might be 3 characters. Next month might be 1,000 your Blood War. If you're adamant on saving for 1,000 your Blood War characters, then you might want to keep saving. Me personally, again, I am going to summon until I get both of the characters once. If that means I have to do 25 steps, I'm going to do 25 steps. I think it's a good banner. I think the characters are good. I just feel like they could have been a tad bit better. But that's my opinion on the new characters. In the comments below, let me know what you guys think about them. How deep do you plan to go? Are you skipping? I'm curious to know. And remember, we will be live when this banner drops tomorrow morning, summoning for the 2 new witches. Because again, I'm a Burn the Witch fan. I'm a summon for them anyway, but I really want to try out Ninny. She's my favorite of the 2. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.